Hello and welcome to my new Guitar-Nerdery video. Today I'd like to show you a fun way to start learning chord inversions. To get a feel for it, to understand what it's good for. Let's start. In a few I will give you a short overview about what chord inversions are and what I'm actually gonna talk about today, what I'm gonna show you and what it's good for. But before I get started, I want to mention that I've already made a couple of videos about the topic and also about guitar intervals and how chords are named and all that stuff that is very important to understand what you're doing. And you'll find all the videos in my playlist Guitar-Nerdery Theory Lessons. Really recommend that. The happy sounding exercise I'm going to show you today consists only of major triads. So let me take a simple major triad to explain chord inversions to you. And if you really understand that, you can easily translate the whole idea to minor triads, tetrads, whatever. It's always the same procedure. A G major triad consists of the root G, the major third B, and the perfect fifth D. Sounds like this. And this is called a fundamental chord because all notes are in the right order from low to high. Root, third, fifth. I can now put the root one octave up. This is the first inversion. The first inversion has now as lowest note in the bass the third. Then followed by the fifth, and the highest note is the root. But it's still a G major. And one more possibility. I can now put the major third one octave up. This is the second inversion with the lowest note the fifth, then followed by the root, and the highest note is now the third. And if I would now continue, if I would put the perfect fifth one octave up, then I get the fundamental chord again. But that fundamental chord is on the whole one octave higher. I've just showed you the fundamental chord and the two inversions by taking one chord shape. The fun thing is, on the guitar we can play the same things differently because we have a lot of overlapping notes. Let me show you. This fundamental G major, just to show you, I can also play on the D, G and B string here. The same notes. Sounds a little bit different because them strings are thinner and the harmonic structure of them strings sounds differently, but it's the same. These are the same notes. So, and you really gain something from learning chord inversions if you play now them inversions on the same three strings. So don't move vertically but horizontally. So then I have this fundamental chord and the first inversion would be here and the second inversion would be here, and then I'm back at the fundamental chord but one octave higher. And this is the same what I showed you before. And what you will gain by learning them chord inversions horizontally, by staying on them same strings, is learning to play chords, voicings, fingerings for them chords you want to play in different positions. What I mean is, it doesn't matter where you actually are with your playing. if you want to play a chord next, you always find a shape that is close by, that comes in really handy. And this I want to demonstrate to you by showing you that happy, nice sounding exercise consisting out of major triads. So we got a situation. I got a chord progression, it's pretty simple. It's a 1, 4, 5, 1 in G major. An absolutely cliché cadence. So, and now I want to arrange this chord progression on high strings, on them 3 high strings here, the G, the B, and the high E string. If I would only know one fingering, one voicing, one shape, for example this one for G major. Then I would have to use also this for playing C major and for playing D major. You can do that, doesn't sound bad, but in general it's not always like that, but in general you can say big jumps sound not so good as good connections between them voicings. And here them chord inversions come in. Let us check out the fundamental chord, but now we want to know what is the first inversion. We need the third in the root. So here we have G, B, and D. And the first inversion must be B as lowest note, D as second note, and the G must be the highest note. So I now have to find the B on the G string, and that's here. And the D is then here. And the G is up here. That's my first inversion for G major. And now I only need one more shape to get it all, the second inversion. For the second inversion, the note that is here on the B string goes up to the E string. So every note moves one up, and the highest note goes on the lowest string, on the G string. I'm gonna have to find where the D on the G string is. It's here. Then the G is here. And then the B here is up here. You know this. Everyone knows D major. If you only play these 3 notes, you have always played the second inversion of D major in your life. So we got these 3 fingerings. And I do not have to change them fingerings for C major or for D major, just think about where they are, in which position I have to play them. So the fundamental chord of C major is here. The first inversion is here. And the second inversion is here. And then D major. Okay, I know this is the second inversion already. This is the fundamental. First inversion. Second inversion. This way now I have 3 different fingerings for each of them 3 chords, makes 9 voicings, which I can use to arrange my 3 chord progression. And my idea is now to start with voicings that are low on the fretboard to get a good connection between them 3 chords, and then moving up in them positions. I'm gonna start with the first inversion of G major. Then I'm gonna take that fundamental C. And for that D, I'm gonna take the second inversion. Sounds nice. Everything is close by, and I already use by this all 3 voicings. The first inversion for G, the fundamental chord shape for C, and the second inversion for D. The next position would be for G here. The second inversion, I started with the first inversion, so the next one up is the second inversion. My next C is this one, the first inversion. And the fundamental chord D is here. Cool, eh? It's the same as. And one more possibility. Now I get to the fundamental chord of G. Then I'm gonna take the second inversion of C and the first inversion of D, and I can play again the same chord progression up here. Pretty cool. So here's my first recommendation. Practice these 3 possibilities, these 3 positions with that chord progression. This. Just to get a feel for this. But now I'm going to show you the final exercise. I'm going to make a nice arrangement, a simple arrangement, which connects them 3 positions. So, what I mean is, you don't have to learn new voicings. I just use them voicings I already showed you. I'm gonna start playing one time through this. G major, C major, D major, G major. Then I'm gonna repeat C major, but now I do not get to the second inversion of D, but I move this fundamental chord up to this D fundamental chord. That brings me into the next position and makes a connection to this next G. That sounds pretty logical. And the same idea I'm gonna continue now. Now we have played us into this position. I again play one time this position through. And now this first inversion of C, I use the same fingering for the D to go upwards and being close to the next G. It's the same concept. And now the same with the last position here. Starting here, playing one time this position through. C, D here, and again that's G. again, C, but now the same voicing for D, upwards, and we land on the high first inversion of G major. So putting it all together sounds like this. And remember, this all is I find this a fun way to start learning chord inversions. If you understand the concept, you simply can translate them major triads to minor triads. It's exactly the same concept, and also with tetrads and so on. So far for today, enjoy that exercise. And if you also had and have fun with that exercise, and like the video and like to support me, it would really help me if you don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm looking very forward to see you next time.